Hi there, it's Kevin with RogueDeckBuilder.com, here with kind of responsive videos to one of my very good friends and fellow content creator, the Magic Historian, also known as MTG Purple. We've had a lot of back and forth, playful back and forth back in the day. Never really disagreed on much, and I've always valued his opinion and always valued him as a friend. So let me just preface that this is, what's great about friendship. You can disagree about things, especially when they're so heated, as a topic that means, of course, very dear and near to me because it is a large portion of my livelihood. It is a massive project and goal that I've been working on with establishing a game store that was Magic focused, and Magic was the breadwinner. In my store, Magic is 95% of the sales, at least Magic and Magic card accessories, and how the change sets a very, very bad precedent going forward. So first of all, I want you to definitely maybe pause this video, go and check out MTG or the Magic Historian's video about the destruction of local game stores caused by a lack of support from Wizards of the Coast ? And then you can come back to this video, and I'm going to try to point by point kind of debunk a lot of things, or at least give you my contrarian point of view to what the Magic Historian was talking about, how he thinks that Wizards of the Coast is incredibly supportive. So yes, I do deal with other companies, like we've dealt with Malifaux in the past, and Dice Masters, WizKids, dealt with Pokemon, a lot of the other games that do have organized play. And yes, a lot of them do have a fee. So if you want to run their events, if you do want the packages, the promotional packages, you do have to pay for those packages. But those are very reasonable, in my opinion. And the key difference, and we'll get into that in a second, is the requirements by those games versus the requirements of Magic. So Magic has always been, they've always known that they have a different position in the gaming industry than the rest of the companies. They are big. And with that popularity, they know that they can get away, or they can demand more than other games. If a game like WizKids or Games Workshops or some of these other companies that run CCGs or TCGs told me that I had to have specific requirements, I would of course just laugh at them and say, all right, just won't carry your product. That's the end of it. But the big difference between them, which is going on now, which is the big distinction, the huge change, which is why this change to Amazon, or the change to not being able to buy directly from Wizards of the Coast, where you have to go to the distributor, is, in my opinion, really no longer worth it to have the WPN and their so-called free events. And we'll get into those free events here in a second, and I'll show you that they're not free. So let me preface this by saying that Wizards of the Coast demands that we run events. If you want to be part of the WPN, which is the Wizards Play Network, which means that a lot of distributors even require that if you buy Magic products from them, that you need to be part of the WPN. Yes, I know there are people out there like Desolator and like Rudy and a plethora of other stores that are not WPN, but they have to have another bargaining chip into the mix. They've got to have a lot of capital and a lot of sway with distributors, and a lot of times they don't have an allotment. They have to get their allotment through other people that choose not to buy, that kind of gift their allotment to the Rudies. And I don't even know the legality. Well, not really the legality, but the like when I signed up for a distributor, they did require a WPN for me to have be able to sell Magic the Gathering products. So free is definitely not free when it comes to these promotional materials that Wizards of the Coast sends us. So let's just kind of go over what Purple is trying to, or the historian is trying to, the point he's trying to come across. That out of all the companies, Wizards of the Coast sends the most promotional materials. I would agree with that. Occasionally we do get stuff from other stores, like the posters, like the cardboard statues. Kaladesh, they sent a bunch of things to hang. Eldritch Moon in Shadows of Innistrad. Those of course are nice to decorate the store, to promote their product, but this is definitely not unheard of in retail space. Even things like Mountain Dew, energy drinks, they'll send like pop-up displays for free to try to promote their product. You go into any store, Those are things that the company is trying to get you, the consumer, to draw your eyes in to buy their product over their competitors' products. And they do help the store as far as also advertising their products. But the caveat is that it needs to make sense for the store. Otherwise, why do we care about banners? Why do we care about promotional materials if the product that we're supposedly promoting is not reasonable as far as profit margins are concerned? So that is where I'm really trying to get at, where I think a lot of people are missing the point with Magic the Gathering. Yes, they promote their products through a local game store, but that's a lot different than the symbiotic relationship that used to occur with Wizards of the Coast promoting their product at a point in which then was very enticing for game stores to then sell that product. So it doesn't work anymore like it used to, like it should work, where, hey, we're going to send you a bunch of F&M promos, some events. We're going to give you a system you can use to keep track of our tournaments so that you can sell our products and also make money by selling our products. That is what has been cut off. So let's just go over what Wizards does send us. So they, according to Purple, does a good job laying it out. They do the standard showdown. They do pre-releases. They do welcome, the open houses, and they also do standard showdowns and Friday Night Magic. And theoretically, they have a system in place where each one of those should feed into the others. But that is where I'd say that Wizards of the Coast has failed worse than anything, at least with the communication with the local game stores and the communication with their own marketing, where it just doesn't, it's not a very good execution. Great idea, terrible execution. The open houses are always a disaster. Wizards does a terrible job promoting it. It is too, I think it's just too much of they try to promote it to like a demographic that a lot of times isn't what we want for a game store. Like my experiences with running open houses, it rarely leads to good sales. It rarely leads to actually people then transitioning over to pre-releases. The best way for Magic is word of mouth, as a friend introducing them. Yes, the open houses can be a catalyst for that. A friend could bring a friend and say, come to the open house. But usually those people aren't interested in the welcome decks. They're garbage. They have absolutely nothing of value or nothing to any even slightly enfranchised player has no use for a welcome deck. And so if they come in with a friend, the friend doesn't want to play the welcome deck with them. And what I usually end up happening with open houses is with a lot of people that just want freebies. We get so many families and people that just hear the word free and come in, get a free Magic deck, and you never see them again. You find the cards outside, thrown in the trash or strewn across the parking lot. And it hasn't been that catalyst to then get them into the pre-release. Not saying that it could. I'm saying that, at least in my experience, it hasn't led to that filtration in from welcome decks to pre-release. Now let's talk about the pre-release. The pre-release is not, it used to be a very good profit margin for stores before Wizards set a competitive price for booster packs. Now you got to remember that pre-release kits are predominantly booster pack. The day and age where you get an Emrakul as your pre-release promo are over. Now pre-release promos are either random, at least I'm glad they're random, because before they were random, we had, back even with Ravnica, we had kind of like everyone got the exact same promo based upon the guild pack they chose or the theme they chose. And usually those were bulk rares and they were terrible. So of course that is the randomness of the promo is something that has been a benefit, but it's just slightly, it's just one foil promo. So much that there isn't a lot of demand for it that I can still buy pre-release kits that just didn't even sell for basically booster pack value. So you got to think that the pre-release is just getting some booster packs, a sealed scenario a week early. And so what really value does that give to the stores? Comparison does it give to getting the product out for being a promotional event for the company itself? So I would say that Wizards has more in stake, and they actually get they get the exact same profit margin as they do with their other products. So Wizards sells me pre-release kits. They don't give me pre-release kits. They sell me a pre-release package, and they do give usually 2 booster boxes per, it's like 64 kits, or even it's even, so I mean that is all added in to the price tag of hosting the event. So it's not an event that is like anywhere near a better deal for game stores. It's kind of on the exact same margins that you would expect if you were to do all the other products. The good thing about pre-release is it's supposed to be a week earlier before you can experience Magic any other way. Well, Walmart has consistently broken street date. Now we have the ability to order booster boxes and have them given to you the day of the pre-release. We have Arena that is an MTGO that also you can experience Magic on the pre-release date rather than going into pre-release. So it's really lost its luster for why people even want to go to a pre-release. And the burden is definitely on the game store to execute and run a good pre-release. I would say that we'd be able to do that just as good as the olden days where we just got 6 packs without any sort of kits, without any sort of anything, and say, hey, this is the first time we're going to hold a sealed event. And it'd be almost as successful as all the promotion that goes in to the pre-release. Those do not come at a cost. Those are a pre-release package that us, the store, pays for. And again, it costs us money because it's the retail space that is required. Usually pre-releases are the only time that a store really is packed with, like, needs to have that sort of table space. That is the event that is hampering a lot of retail space to begin with. Is you need to be big enough, you need to have a big enough space for those type of events. And when they end up being not very lucrative because Wizards has dumbed down the price to about $2.50 per pack, people now are starting to skip pre-releases because they're just going to wait to get those $90 boxes and have it shipped. As Amazon will probably even break the street date where it's going to come to them 2-day shipping a few days after the pre-release is even over. So, or you can just sit at home and experience it on Arena or on MTGO. So let's go on now then to F&M. F&M used to be very, very lucrative with certain promos. There have been a lot of hit and misses, and it really thrived when the standard was something that F&M used to be only standard or draft. It was very focused, and then Wizards F&M started being unsuccessful. So Wizards threw their hands in there and said, okay, stores can do whatever the hell they want for F&M. It's just a time to play Magic. And so they even tried to run out the more competitive player by offering casual rewards for the prize. So they went away from cards like Fatal Push that were geared towards competitive players to then tokens so it was double-faced tokens, trying to disattract the spikes and attract the casuals, because again, Wizards has had this convoluted sense of who their demographic is. So anyway, stores, of course, F&M no longer was anything special than any other event, and a lot of stores started even replacing F&Ms for their own versions of tournaments. In fact, a lot of the stores in the Salt Lake area, I know that their F&Ms are quite poor, but when they run like 1K events, like 1K modern events, or they're even their own versions of like PPTQs, some of these lower scale events, they do a lot better doing their own sort of thing than with the Wizards specific Friday Night Magic. Friday Night Magic is 100% lost its luster for the vast majority of players. Standard Showdown, great idea, horrible execution. This is something that Wizards has failed to really get to the player of the reason to come to Standard Showdown. Standard Showdown is supposed to be just a standard tournament, and you can receive Standard Showdown packs. Yes, those are given out to local game stores, but local game stores are required to then, of course, give them to players. So a lot of times, if you're trying to use Standard Showdown packs as the prize and as kind of the event fee, that's also frowned upon. You're expected to also give like a reasonable price support on top of the Standard Showdown packs. That's one of the silver linings in the not so distant past. I think they've been giving these out since Hour of Devastation, I think, and they started, no, maybe it was Kaladesh is when the Standard Showdown pack started to come. But again, those are very few and far in between. If that is something that's supposed to be like really keeping local game stores in it for this WPN, in it for this play network, this organized play, a couple of packs to be given out per week is definitely nothing to cheer about as a store. Again, this is something that is required. You're supposed to be running these events. If you want these promos, you have to run these events, and all of that costs money and time and retail space to do. So it is not free things that are given out. I would much rather, without any strings attached, a lot of, I remember Dice Masters would do similar things. You could do a Dice Masters tournament, and you could buy some stuff. You could buy exclusive rewards that can be given out. But there wasn't any stipulations like Wizards requires. They didn't like say that if you missed a certain amount of events that you couldn't even get products in the future. And that's how the WPN is set up. And we'll get to that in a second. So then we have Store Championship, which used to be called Game Day. Yes, there's sometimes playmats that sell for a lot, but Wizards is extremely strict with how you give those out. And it's a lot of times the Store Championship ends up trying to appeal to too many people that it ends up appealing to no one. You get people that won't come because it's too cutthroat, because there is a $100 playmat on the line. And then sometimes you get people that it's just like, there's nothing in it for me. This is a joke. And of course, don't show up either. So I would say that the Store Championships have also fallen flat. A lot to do with Wizards asking or even demanding the local game store carry most of the burden with promoting that. What I've suggested in the past is that Wizards actually makes it worthwhile through something besides Planeswalker points. It should go back to player rewards. It shouldn't be one-time random prizes for an event. They should be something that players should build towards, so they could work at their, play at their local game store to then repetitively over time earn something greater. It would reward consistency and loyalty. But nope, that's not what is happening with the current promotional materials that Wizard gets. So again, I'm just going to go the cost breakdown of having this play space. So table space, average store table space, I would say at least around 400 square feet, just for the minimum of table space. In US, the average price per square foot of rent space is $1. So that is $400 a month that these are required for these promos, for these promotional materials to be given out. Because if you are not a WPN store, meaning if you are not running these events, you are not getting these to begin with. So this is definitely not free. This is something that Wizards is basically paying the store for running their events for them. Then these events usually require an employee to run. So after minimum wage and the associated fees, like employers having to pay for benefits or even if they don't give benefits, you still have to pay for like Social Security, it ends up being about $10 an hour minimum for an employee. And so if there's just 6 hours of events and 4 FNMs each month, we're up to $240 just for those events. Now there's no way, no how that those free promotional materials add up to $640 per month of added value to the store. Again, the main reason for these promotional materials are to draw attention to that product in a store rather than their competitor. Wizards has a lot more to gain by these in your store than the store does by having them. Again, it depends on the store. For the larger ones that are more diversified, which people say that stores are going to have to evolve into, then that it means that Wizards should be doubling down on trying to get their product noticed over something else. So last but not least, I really want to hit home that these are required by Wizards of the Coast. Required on the level that even if I want to carry Wizards of the Coast product in my store, I have to run their events. I am not sure exactly how some stores like Rudy have been dangled away to get the mass amount of quantities that they get. But my allotment of Wizards product, even now I can't even directly order from Wizards of the Coast, has always been anchored to the amount of events that I run. So at core status, meaning if I don't have a lot of players that I could have a bazillion casual players that come in and buy. I don't want to actually call them casual players. I'm going to call them walk-in customers. I can have the people that play Magic kitchen table players that play Magic come in and buy a bazillion. I could do $200,000 of sales of like booster packs or product and Magic the Gathering would not up. I'd have to get that some other way. I wouldn't be able to get that directly from Wizards because the allotment is directly anchored to event participation. So that's another incentive, or not really, I wouldn't even say incentive, that's another requirement by Wizards of the Coast for local game stores to be able even to sell their product to begin with, is to run events. Now, all of that used to make sense when we were allowed to make decent profit margins off of Magic the Gathering. Yesterday, I reviewed all of the products that came out in 2017 and 2018, and the vast majority of them were either duds or had massive distribution problems where the local game stores got cut out of the profits to begin with and just didn't have access to the amount that they could sell. So like Unstable and Battle Bond, some of the silver lining. The rest of the products is we can't be like Walmart or Amazon. If something doesn't sell at Walmart, they just return it. They return it to Wizards and say, not our problem, because Walmart doesn't sell the products. They sell the shelf space. And Amazon, same thing. Amazon doesn't sell the product. They don't buy the product from Wizards and then sell it. They just fulfill a sale for Wizards of the Coast. So there's no risk. There's no real overhead on that fact. If it doesn't sell, it doesn't sell. And they, it doesn't cost them. A local game store has to make that risk. A lot of them have to go into pretty big debt. They have to go into a lot of financial risk to then sell the product. And if then Wizards of the Coast, like when we started Gone Rogue Games, there was a very clear path Wizards of the Coast had what's called a manufacturer's suggested retail price, which is supposed to be a promise that the manufacturer is not going to directly compete at lower price than that manufacturer's suggested retail price. So yes, things existed on eBay. Yes, things existed on TCG Player. Yes, things existed even on Amazon for cheaper than that MSRP, a lot of times at unreasonable profit margins, but these were other game stores competing with each other. Eventually, those business models won't hold true, and poor customer service isn't prime. It isn't something that something as massive as Amazon is able to get directly to doorstep at very, very low costs. So what I'm trying to say is all of these things, this is the biggest thing of how Wizards of the Coast is not supporting local game stores now. They're not supporting local game stores through reasonable profit margins, and that is the most important thing. It is way more important than silly promotional materials. Hell, if we really cared about Magic the Gathering promotional materials, I'd have Zach paint me some stuff. Not some flimsy. Talk about warping. If you really want to talk about bad quality, a lot of these posters, like the poster you'll see behind in Perp's video, they aren't very good quality and start to warp and fall apart and whatnot. Some things that Wizards send us are pretty cool, but again, that is very similar to what like Mountain Dew does for a convenience store. It's not anything unheard of. It's marketing materials that a company puts out. Yeah, it's the burden has definitely been shifted to the game stores to promote Magic more than Magic itself seems to promote it. Magic hasn't been very successful with creating a community player base, like a global player base that actively goes in the paper market to stores. So like a good diverse from all the way to super competitive to casual. They've kind of just thrown it off and quit. Like Players Rewards was such a beautiful thing, and it's gone now. It's not available to local game stores. What I'm trying to say is the perks are getting slimmer and slimmer, and yes, they might be ramping up marketing materials, but absolutely they're going to have to if they're going to compete with other products, especially if the margins are so terrible. They're going to have to, in my opinion, way ramp it up to make it so that stores will be able to sell their products. However, I just want to beat it home. This isn't free. These tournaments that I run, these F&M promos, all of these things are at a major cost for my store where it might not be worth it. It used to be worth it because it got people into the door that then will buy booster packs. Will buy the sealed products, the commander decks, then they'll maybe pick up some dice and some card sleeves that go along with it. That also, it's funny that those actually have the best margins now. It's the accessories. Typically in other places, accessories might have some low margins, but they're easy to stock and easy to sell. And that's how they can get away with lower margins because the risk isn't nearly there. It's funny though in this industry though that the less risky products are actually the ones that have the longest shelf life. Are the products also with the best margins. It's like this industry is completely backwards. So I was much more happy to run F&M when I could get people to come in and then they'd buy booster packs, they would buy booster boxes, they would buy card singles, and also that's the biggest thing is people forget about card singles. Now we're going to have a different anchoring of where card singles are going to hit. They are going to be more along the lines of $90 a booster box rather than something like $110 or what they should have been, kind of anchored to a 144 MSRP. The booster pack is now no longer worth $4. It's worth $2.50, which is going to hamper the price of singles, which is also going to make it a lot less profitable for stores to sell singles. So if singles used to be the bread and butter of a store like our stores, that's going to hurt. That's going to hurt a lot when the average price of product is a lot less. And last but not least, people are hyper focused on booster boxes. This isn't just towards booster boxes. This is every non-exclusive, non-limited print run, and probably even limited print run is going to be going up on Amazon, and Amazon is going to try to compete at the lowest price and demand that Wizards of the Coast, if they want to be fulfilled directly through Amazon, that they meet the lowest price possible. And so we're going to see Jace's spell books, if they ever go on Amazon, be for barely above cost. We're going to see the guild kits when they go on Amazon be barely above cost. The MSRP is $20. They won't be anywhere near $20. I'm going to say they're going to be like $14 shipped prime off Amazon. There will be another opportunity not for the game store to make money. And people just say diverse. Okay, well, with going into diverse products will also mean less focus on Magic, and eventually people will just be like, we'll run F&M. It'll be this half-assed F&M. It'll be this half-assed store championship. It'll be this half-assed pre-release. You guys want to pre-order? Okay, well, we only want enough for whoever people that give a crap about coming, and the stores are not going to want to promote it, which are going to lead to a dwindling of the game. And it really does come back down to the lack of support, the lack of acknowledgement from Wizards of how worth it is to the company to try to maintain local game stores. A game store is not an electronic store. It's not something where people come in, make a purchase, and go home. A game store is an experience. A game store is someplace you go to meet and mingle. It'd be, in this sense, more like a bar. You don't go into a bar and expect Amazon prices on your liquor. You don't go into a bar trying to be able to compete with compete with the bartender and try to sell your own stuff there. All that stuff would not be acceptable. Everything is marked up a lot at that sort of bar scene because they have overhead for the experience. The experience costs money, and therefore the goods have to match the profit margins on the goods have to be able to match the service and the overhead the service requires. So I don't know. This video I know was in good intentions by Perp, by the Magic Historian, where yes, Magic the Gathering by far does seem on paper to promote or to give the local game stores more than other games, but it comes at a cost. It comes with a demand. It comes at almost bullying by Wizards of the Coast saying, "Hey, you want a successful Magic store? Well, kneel, bend over, because this is what we're going to require of you. And if you quit doing that, well, we'll just strip you of your ability to sell Magic." There is no option here. We have to if we want to sell their products, and now there's no profit from it. So yes, Wizards has cut its support for the local game store substantially by trying to dip into their profit margins by themselves being a player in the online market. Beforehand, they had an excuse. It wasn't them. But we've caught them. I guarantee you the Channel Fireballs and the Sports and Mores and all those things are just another way of Wizards of the Coast not really honoring their MSRP and directly going through these sort of outlets at a very, very lower price or no price at all. Who knows if even Channel Fireball has a deal through Wizards that they just, the products like gifted to them and they're selling it on behalf of Wizards. So Wizards is kind of fronting the capital or fronting the goods, and then so there is no overhead. There is no initial investment. And then at that point, then Channel Fireball just sells at whatever Wizards tells them to sell at. I would not be surprised if those were the pre-existing deals with Sports and More and Amazon, and that's probably going to be the pre-existing deals with Walmart going forward. It's all going to be handled. The price is going to be set by Wizards, and everything's going to be whatever doesn't sell just gets returned. And again, there's no risk. So yeah, it's a very, very hostile environment for stores to sell Magic, and so it's kind of condescending at the same point, saying that, oh well, they're really promoting they're really giving these handouts to these stores to make them successful by these stuff that really isn't that. It's more of a burden in this day and age than it is a boon. So anyway, wow, that's my long response video to it. I hope this makes sense. Hope this clears up. Again, no ill intentions here, no ill feelings. There's always another side of the story of exactly how business works. And, there is no free lunch. That's the thing, that everything comes at a cost. And yeah, anyway, Kevin with Rogue Deck Builder. Oh, by the way, I'm done with this topic now. This is the last video that you're going to see of this sort of thing. We're going to move on to other topics. I hope you understand why I've gone so in depth with these type of videos. This is my livelihood. And I know I'm a dinosaur, and I know I'm on my way out, and we are going to have to change our business model completely. We're going to have to revamp everything we've done because of these changes and the writings on the wall. And I'm okay with that. That's just the nature of the beast, and that's the risk that I took when I decided to put my hat in the ring for this type of environment. However, this is just the grim situation that local game stores are going to be a lot harder to have more of the startup feel of a local game store, where people can come with just expertise but no capital and try to grind out, especially a very niche Magic focused store. I think that we're going to be in the age of more the franchise, the game stores that kind of franchise. One game store becomes successful, then franchises to another location, then franchises to another location, because they have the capital to get going. They have all of the connections and the games and whatnot. And at that point, it just makes sense, especially if that store goes under, then they can just eat up all the goods from there and then throw it back to their successful. And it's easy for them to fail at that point because there's not a lot of risk there. Whereas someone that's trying to grind out from the very beginning, like how Zach and I did, is we literally started this store with card singles and just expertise on how to run Magic events and our connections with the community. And it was very profitable. We were able to be the economy. We were able to make good margins on sealed product from Wizards. We were able to outcompete Walmart, or outcompete the service provided by people selling on eBay or TCG Player, and that's what really brought people in. However, when you look at a giant like Amazon, and it's when directly run through Wizards of the Coast, and we also see like Wizards of the Coast directing more towards Magic Arena, more towards MTGO than their local game stores. Yeah, all of that. It's not just the Amazon deal, but I think this is just the straw that really says, yes, Wizards of the Coast is having lack of support for its local game stores and whatnot. All right, now I'm really done with this. We'll move on to other things. I'll get back to brewing videos. You can go and check out, I did do a market video over at the Rogue Market. That is my new financial channel. I will still do financial videos here at Rogue Deck Builder. They'll be in the long form. This is another long form, more analytical video on the Guilds of Ravnica kits. Where do I think they're going to be settling off? So if you're interested in that video, definitely go check that out. It may be more your cup of tea than a response video to another YouTuber. Anyway, this has been Kevin with Rogue Deck Builder. Thanks for all of your support. Thanks for all of the encouragement. Oh wow, this has been a awful week. A lot of condescending remarks by many people that just don't get the business models or just don't appreciate all the hard work that people like me, the small stores, have done for cultivating the community. And it almost feels like a slap in the face. A lot of this was almost done as a pro bono type approach. We just really wanted to play Magic in our area. And it doesn't feel good when people spit in your face and tell you don't deserve to be here, or it's your own fault, or all this, kind of stuff. I get it. No one knows that more than me. I'm a dinosaur. My way of life is going out, and I have to adjust. But the people that just give me the pat on the back, give me the encouragement, the thank you, all the understanding, I appreciate it. Kevin with Rogue Deck Builder, thanks for watching.